Alright. February 24th, 9:41 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. So what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time, and a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So how'd it go? It says Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't see capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana! Don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have in my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Meanwhile, in the courtroom... Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid of it to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. I wish... Never mind, I'm not gonna speak on that. Hope you feel better, though. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. And that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds almost on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well, the trial resumed. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Ooh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You gotta believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is... Sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. Person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that in order. Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. You can't fault them for a lack of enthusiasm. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I saw a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. You knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes. Now there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. I was ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badgers to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? There it is! I found it! This is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir. I see. Huh? The number 4989596 is shown as being listed twice. It's shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room, and the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Fix my display for people in the chat. So your attack. Could you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You weren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's why I got this gash on my hand. If you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the stream. What does it mean you say you did it? I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. See. Must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. Hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission. Sir. Mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badgers, sir. I returned to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins? With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The Chief? Delivered it? What is that? A videotape? Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. Objection! What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told that it had been mistakenly erased. It's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. It's like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, Please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder. So what are we getting ourselves into? God, this feels so uncomfortable. Just a freaky looking animatronic on a black and white film moving. God, it's super creepy. Oh, and he's 3D. 3D man. Doing all he 3D can. God, I'm still, like, in awe of the fact that that's, like, actually kind of real. Like, FNAF, I mean. And I mean real in, like, kind of quotes, I suppose. Wait, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Dragon Ball Z teleport noise. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire criminal affairs department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yes, well, anyway. The tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room, and some sort of activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. Mystery man. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman's sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective is given a locker, equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. However, the most important detail is not shown in the video, the man's face. Sir! If I may say something, sir. Please do. After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? Contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. You want me to point it out? Very well, proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video? This is the first time I've had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction in that indicates this man might not be Detective Goodman? Alright. Let me fast forward a little bit. Hold on, let me... Whoops, wrong thing. Wrong thing. Let me play the video again. Every time you point a finger, someone gets hurt. Says the one pointing his finger at us. Alright, let's try this again. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Gotta point out cringe in the YouTube video. Alright. Let me fast forward a bit. There we go. The thing that's strange in this video has got to be this. Yes, that is strange. Something certainly seems unnatural about that. What could it mean? Objection! Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright, but you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. The point? What you are looking for is one thing and one thing only. Something that indicates this man may not be Detective Goodman. Oh yeah. Whew. I almost walked right into the defense's trap. I'll place him under arrest, sir. Rats. I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. Now what do I do? Alright. Let me try this again. Okay, I have to figure out exactly what I'm looking for. Whoops. Oh, I guess that is kind of the thing. I must have hit the wrong thing. I hit the wrong thing. Aw, oh, damn it. Off day today. Off day today. Everything's all fucked up. Jeez. Let me focus for like 5 seconds, and now I can do it. There we go. That's a bit better. The thing that's gotta be shown by the video has gotta be this. Officer Meekins. Sir! Do you mean me, sir? As I understand, the locker apparatus works like this. Why does it keep playing this music? I hate this. When you grab the handle, the sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. It really is just clown music. It feels like I'm in like a horror movie right now, watching found footage. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind a little earlier. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Real. Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. The locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert on this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh well, just goes to show you novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes. How was the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, Wow, Phoenix. Real classy, just shoving all responsibility onto a baby. Good job. Maybe something like jam the system sensor? Something... jam the sensor? Say... Oh, say. There's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker was unlocked. Put on the cause. Let me... Oop. Let me speed it up. Yeah, a glove did come out. And... Pause. Aw, man. Let me... Rewind. Ah, God. And now... There we go. There we go. Got the glove. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Thank God I am spared from horrible clown music. Oh my God. If I had to hear that like 5 more minutes, I probably would have gone like insane. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir! It's been my experience and that things fall out when doors are open. I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my car door, sir. No! You can't be sure the item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? That sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Big stretch. Man, this has already been going on for 24 minutes. Probably would have been less if I actually knew what I was doing. But anyway. There it goes. The white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times I get stuck in the door when I get on my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me. The object had to be incredibly thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but the crime scene. There just might have been something that fits the description. Real. But sir... Oh, I missed what he said. My insulator. You don't mean... I think I finally got this figured out. Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? It was... this glove! I found this in the locker. A thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir! It would appear so, sir! I like his weird chicken noises. Order, order, order! Are we to believe, then, that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated the possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir! Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh! You mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman's search. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. An ID card is used as a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective would use his card. An ID card record. I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There are only a few cases up for transferal there, and most will clear it up by noon. Right. I see. Now let's move on to the cross-examination. Yeah, well, how come we have his card? Why do we have his card, son? Wait, one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. Underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report. It's only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order, order, order. Does the prosecution never respond? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at one single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murderer in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the incident of the murder. That is... Well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't gonna end well. Well, well. It seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means the murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime would only take place in one location, in the ground parking lot, at the prosecutor's office. The murder being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. This evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! Well, shit. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. It seems the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else Lana... What do I do? Well, how am I supposed to get yourself out of this mess? Objection! One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. So, why did he get arrested? This entire thing makes no sense. I don't get what the purpose of this entire, like, event is supposed to prove. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination of the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses would be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. Hey! Damn. It's been a fucking hot minute. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. Not in this game! I think she's only in, like a later game where they're all full 3D. This is still 2D stuff from, like, the Game Boy Advance and DS era. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities placed in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Hello, Rox. What's going on? Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testified. Why I gotta say that about him? Why I gotta say that about him? Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? Can't let Edward know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I think we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to this defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in a police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witnesses... Subpoenaed? That's a word. It's... My first sub-emote was a emote that I had from a couple friends, and it's this stupid thing. From a Discord group I'm in that plays fighting games. It's this stupid thing. I'm probably gonna get another emote soon, though. I have a couple lined up. It's from Chegger's Party Quiz, and it's just a funny, like, in-joke in my, fighting game Discord that I moderate. Will the prosecution please refer a witness during the time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Who is he? What does he want? He wants to quiz you. On everything. February 24th, 11:32 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Listen. The Cheggers lore is very long and very arduous. It'll be a long time for it to get to the root cause of Chegg and how he is a champ. Anyway. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. There it goes. Wait, the gumshoe. What is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal. I'm making a detective run around while on duty. On top of that, if you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey. Hey! 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 I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. Check yourself before you reg yourself? Damn. I hate the word reg, it's so stupid. Don't slurp his brains! It's bad. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh. Ho! Ho ho! Ho ho ho! Ho 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 ho! You mean this, right? My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. Listen, he's just a himbo, it's fine. The SL9 is... But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here. You might do well to read them. I can't believe you're the chief prosecutor were a witness in that case. Miss Sky was a witness? Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh, what? Now that I brought you this stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why... Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... Haha, just kidding. Unless... I've been better, but I'm not gonna get in on that. It's fine. Everything's fine. No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark... No. No, Lana! That's over with! No! Emma, wait! She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. Joe Dark, so fat, damn. This can't just be a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Alright, that's probably the last thing I do, and I'm gonna peace out and then come back maybe tomorrow if I'm actually alive. Jury's still out on that one, but we'll figure it out. God, I got a lot of stuff to sift through still. Okay, we'll probably take care of the rest of that stuff tomorrow. Hopefully. If not, I'll probably do it the first day of July, and then I'll play Mario and Luigi the day after. January 24th, 12:14 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 9. That's a good mode. I like the B PogChamp for Pride Month. The court will now reconvene for the trial of was it an object of visual novel breakdown presented for this games? It's mostly Viz novel. Basically, I'm gonna refer it to from now on as like competent Danganronpa, because I played that first. Regrettably, court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Well, I'm gonna call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Yeah, basically. There's bits and pieces that are really shitty, like in 2, but thankfully it's the exception and not the rule. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just the same as the man, same as you. One on the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. God, like... I've touched on this briefly before with, like, some other people, but Danganronpa fucking sucks! It's so bad! As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. It really is a hee-haw moment. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime, on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? Desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. I think it's best we get on with this quickly. Oh, God. Like, I played Komaeda's game and I skipped 1 because I saw the anime, and the anime is also garbage, but 2 is... okay? It's still bad, but it's like... okay. Okay, so in, like, as few words as possible, he's basically mentally ill gay Hope Man. But then again, that's most of the cast in 2. 2 is so stupid. I hate 2. I hate 3 a lot, but I hate 2 also just as much. Please share with us your testimony on the day of the crime. In plain old English. Day of the crime. My job is to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. Okay, I'll sum up the spare girls in like one sentence. You ready? Pedophilic, child-harming dog shit. There. It's the worst. God, I hate it. There's a prominent character in that game who is a self-described, like, lolicon, and it makes me want to die! Oh, God. It's so bad. He said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Oh, God. Like, the gameplay isn't bad, but, like, every bit of subject matter is just, like, torture for, like, kids. And we're talking grade schoolers. And that's nothing to say about, like, you actually get unfortunate aspects of, like, a character pretty much going through implied and kind of on-screen CSA, and it's like, dude, stop. Actually stop. Can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks and evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. I don't know. I don't know the best way to put it, and I'm not gonna try, but I'm not touching it. I just know that it's garbage from, like, experience. And because I looked into it when it, like, first got announced when it came out, and now it's like, oh god, why did I like this franchise? It sucks. It's not good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? Okay. Alright. This one seems like trouble. Let me get it off. Let me stop talking about it. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. One, 2, 3, 4. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, I make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints will be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints are covered in blood. Nah, he's just... I don't know exactly what he's doing. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulder. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? Honestly, a little bit about the blood-stained fingerprints. Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. The witness' explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you... How did you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's a locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. Let's see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker program. He must have been using the fingerprint locker all this time without ever knowing. One of them just happened to be at the same place. Handprint, yeah, we know this. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep a loner report. There's a bloodstain at the scene thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found at the gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Or are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please reconsider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Right, partner. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without even being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Okay. So, if we rewind here, and actually play it. Okay. Still going. Yeah, but they're in a court of law, and they have to expect that cops are telling the truth in some way, shape, or form. Okay, and... pause, and... Shablousers! Oh, that's the, Blue Badger. Bring our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum it up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Too bad he's a police mascot. He's actually kind of a fun design. That locker with a white claw sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Whoa! Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Blue Badger, Blue Badger. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that you only... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide someone who's opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why's everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. We'll free him from the blue hogs. I hate to run your parade, but you're the only person who opened that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say open that locker, now prove it. Oh wait, you want to see something cool? Hold on, can I? Oh, I can't do it right now. Or can I? Let me see. Yeah! Wasting time, baby! Rotating a phone. This is a stupid game. Alright. Let me stop and actually do what I'm supposed to do. Alright. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks are not that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got one word for you, partner. No! Busted. Order! 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 Witness, explain yourself. Later. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest out from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then, where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright is an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Alright, where was he? Take that! Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. That's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his ID card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Yeah, a little bit. You've got quite an imagination, partner. We've got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ah, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on you what someone was told to me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what me used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in a disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. Putting the defense's argument. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. And the evidence, so the video is only shot. Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, witness opened the locker and put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Let's zip through this a little bit. Zip, zop, zibbity-bop. And... right about here. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. Bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. No, they have to show you. It's very important. It's 3D. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you're only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here. We don't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. There's way too much blood for such a small donation. Alright, let's press him on everything. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? Yes, on 9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it. I want to have a look at it myself one last time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. that case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I... Why'd you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camp. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filing out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, your fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove hadn't been stuck in the door. That means that Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meek and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgewood get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slack. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked out Officer Meekins and... Not Officer Meekins out and... managed to escape. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tips are raised every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat and struck with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room and I came out, the jig would have been up. Opened my locker and stashed it in there. It was Officer Meekins sitting there in that time. What else? He was sleeping like a baby. What you're saying is, on that day... But the blood found in the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, lying? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence in the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgewood, where's that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. Remember the Joe Dark case? It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. I'm involved in here is related in some way to that case. Better take a look at the files. Probably should actually take a look at the files. Let me look. Let's see. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder. Sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones. Edith Kirby. Aha! That'd do it, huh? Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Rachel Moss, Jason Knight, Neil Marshall. Head prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses, Lana Skye, Emma Skye. Executive investigators, Stephen Kent, Lana Skye. Head investigator, Bruce Goodman. Investigators, Jake Marshall, Angel Starr. I think I know why. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. A list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands. What's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Cannon, then Deputy Chief Police. The group of detectives I was part were gunner. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Damn! Sigma Overwatch! Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Stop it. No. No, I don't want to see his toes. Why are his toes out like that? I hate Blizzard so much. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case would be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, and so he ran him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder of the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than that. I deleted my Blizzard account. I can't play Blizzard games in good faith after everything that's happened. And, like, I'm still super pissed about Sojourn. Like, that's such a... like, they opened a Black History book and they're like, oh, this is a good name. Ugh. Stupid friggin' morons. Ugh. God. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was a real one. Which, in turn, means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me, the boys got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murderer took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. Testimony is one of Angel Star's is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it in a single word or less. Ugh. God. this trial has reached a conclusion, there's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt about what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for a verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant Your Honor, wait! Emma! The defense is an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? In a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. And she mentions it. The names of both Sky Sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in the Detective Gumshoe's locker? No, but no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured I examined it scientifically. I'm sure I'd be sure to find a clue. So I went over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh, boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, the handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed this consideration, it's now. What could be wrong with that Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something missing? Objection! This handprint left the crime scene. Clearly shows contradiction. The only thing that seems to be clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on here? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense is simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. All this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plan? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, the mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch out when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker. What? So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Bludgeons were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. It's alright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Mr. Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? after you put it down, it would have been impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. Oh, wow! Holy cow. Thanks for the follow, Cowboy XCM. Thank you. That's sick. I appreciate that. Get the Duck King one! So that would mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badge was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, but Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice! But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman, when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, it does not explain the blood mark found in the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing Detective Goodman, another incident took place in the evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Ms. Earthworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now, will the defense please present its evidence? Which was when the first crime took place. I'm gonna go this way, yeah? Yeah, there we go! Present it! The crime took place inside the evidence room, and the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh! The ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the blue badger panel in the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you had nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out that it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away. By the real murderer. I would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime had taken place before Ms. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777... 77777777. Jesus. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the note owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 77777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. They don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, right? Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. An official charge is filed... If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. Official charge. You're all like, aren't you? With your cover-ups, forgeries. That's what the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you could keep the select yourself. slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her, the defendant over there. Your own little executive. Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course you've looked up her number, and it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of this prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, and say that in the eyes that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. The plot thickened. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. And so will this one. Hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, if I'm not, like, beneath my bed. If you want to help support the stream, you can do so basically anywhere. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on social media, wherever the hell. I'm pretty much everywhere. If you want to help out good causes like Predator Overcoat Relief or reclaim the block for defunding police, you can do so down below as well. I'll see you later, everyone. Bye.